This video about transformation of humans into new biological species. Like in movie The Time Machine, the idea was that in future humans will develop to two different subspecies. One were Morlocks, other were Eloi. Morlocks were some of Morlocks were workers, and some were super humans, super Morlocks with very much developed brain, and these super Morlocks controlled the workers telepathically. Okay, we see here the picture of the Morlock, of the worker. It's not nice picture, seems so, but interesting that these Morlocks were eating protein. Okay, and the idea that humans can be used as a source of protein was long already discussed, and there is an old movie, Soylent Green. Soylent Green, the idea was that in future the production of food will collapse and people will turn into cannibalism. So they will eat flesh of other people, convert this flesh into such kind of biscuit and eat this. So, well, but nevertheless, the fact that we are slowly transforming into the very special caste society and separating to different biological species, I mean different biological subspecies, seems to be obvious. Let's look first at social insects. We know social insects as termites, ants, and bees and wasps. And we see that in these social insects, there are certain caste of the insects. There are royalties, like queen and king in termites, and worker and soldier also in termites. And in the bees, it is queen bee, drones, who are royals, and working bee, workers. Interesting. So in termites colony, there can be not one queen, but two. If the colony is big, but even several queens can exist at the same colony and produce eggs. Termites are feeding on kind of humus and some wood pieces and cellulose, but they cannot consume cellulose. They swallow the cellulose and then rely on bacteria in their guts, and these bacteria consume cellulose and produce fatty acids, produce also some proteins, so the termites can live on it, mostly workers. So, royals, or fertile individuals, live much longer than workers and soldiers, much longer. For example, the queen and king in one termite subspecies have a lifespan of more than 20 years, whereas the workers live only 2 or 3 months. Why it is such a difference? Why it is such a difference? What is the difference between workers, soldiers, and royals? I have to mention that genetically, royals, I mean at least queens, they are genetically identical to workers and to soldiers. Identical, absolutely identical. But in the development from eggs to larva and further, then larva can develop into workers or soldier. Otherwise, it can develop into royals. And royals can be the rows which will fly away. Pardon, wait, let me look. They fly and organize new colony, or this would be next queen in the termite colony. Bees more investigated than termites, and we know why there is such a difference between queen bee and working bee. So the same as in termites, queen bee genetically identical to working bee, absolutely identical. Also, lifespan of the queen bee is about 7 years. Working bee lives 3-4 months normally, so shorter lifespan. But they, as I said, genetically they are identical. The only difference is in the diet. The queen bee, all life from egg to death, eats royal jelly. Royal jelly is a product which produced by working bees, and this is very much, it has a lot of fatty acids. It has also protein and some limited amount of sugars. But working bees, they feed on nectar, on sugars, and pollen, which is the source of plant protein. So another source of protein for termites is fungus. They cultivate fungus, and fungus is able to produce proteins by breaking down plant lignin, and so that the termites get necessary amino acids by eating fungus. They cannot produce amino acids in their guts, unfortunately, so they need additional source of protein from fungus. But however, in guts they produce enough of fatty acids, and they feed the queens, the royals, they feed with some food which is a blend of this fungi protein and fatty acids. Here at larger view we see this fungus cultivation. We see small workers, and we see also a soldier, and they grow the fungus. They bring some vegetable parts and pieces of wood, and inoculate these pieces of wood with spores of the fungus, and so the fungus is growing and mycelium is growing, and they eat this mycelium as a source of protein. When weather is when rain is falling, then this fungus, this mycelium can produce fruiting bodies, like here it is we see. These fruiting bodies, they grow to the above the earth level, and they produce spores. These spores will be used by termites to inoculate the wood pieces, and to start when the royals start new colony. Okay, here also we see picture of the termite colony, and inside we have this fungus farming of the fungus, and then we have also this fruit bodies of the fungus. After rain, we have these fruit bodies growing outside of the colony, of the termite colony. The content of these mushrooms, and certainly of the mycelium, Mostly it has protein, 6 gram to 100 gram of mushroom, carbohydrates 6 gram, and no fat. Carbohydrates are mostly in form of chitin, so it is not complex carbohydrates which are in plants. It is chitin which cannot be digested by humans, but this chitin is a good source of food for our bacteria in large intestine. Meanwhile, standard American diet proposed so-called healthy food pyramid. So then they claim that the source of calories should be mostly from grains and potatoes and other cereals, some amount of fruited vegetables, but yet a lot, limited amount of milk, cheese, and dairy, further very limited meat, fish, and other animal products, and as little as possible fat, oils, and sugars. The result of following of this American diet, you can see at this slide, this is normal American who eat according to this diet, and you see how healthy he is. So it is so-called healthy food pyramid, and this is the result of this healthy food. The same picture, Americans men. Nowadays, this idea or insanity to follow the so-called standard American diet is not only to America, but also to Great Britain. In Great Britain, more and more men are getting such huge fat deposits. Interesting that this consumption of fat is very limited in this standard American diet, because this American medical professionals say you eat fat, you're getting fatty. But strange enough, even people will not consume fat at all, they accumulate a lot of fat deposits. The same is, or even more, about American women. More and more women obese, and children. Children also getting obese, especially if they play games, don't have enough physical activity, then this is the result. But I should say, physical activity, even if you go to intense physical activity, you cannot burn fat. You cannot burn fat. You can improve your cognitive abilities. You can increase your muscle mass, but not burn fat. It just doesn't work. If you follow advising of medical professionals, you have to understand that they are not interested to make you healthy. So the result again that men are getting extremely obese if they follow standard American diet. Extreme of this standard American diet is vegan diet and vegetarian diet. In vegan plant-based food pyramid, all the base of the food pyramid is leafy greens, and then next would be fruits and vegetables, and next like sprouts, legumes, and grains, etc., etc. So plant-based diet, what it is producing? Nowadays, plants and fruits and vegetables are grown with the use of a lot of chemicals. These are herbicides. These are so-called plant hormones, and also herbicide and insecticides, and all these substances. What is interesting? All these substances, they produce human imbalance. In humans, they produce hormonal imbalance. So what is happening in imbalance? So we have lack of testosterone in men, and we have not enough of estrogen in women, and again that's mostly it is not enough, or sometimes not enough, sometimes excess of estrogen. And then as a result of this hormonal imbalance in men is decreased sexual libido, low energy levels, reduced muscle mass, muscle weakness, weight gain, so obesity, mood swings, difficulty sleeping, hair loss, and hot flashes, and fatigue, and breast enlargement, so they start to look very much like girls and women. And then we call this men soy boys. Soy, especially rich in this estrogen-like substances, so they turn men into infertile pieces. So what we have as a result, of course, first body is changing, shape of body of men and women is changing. The obesity is a normal result, but also the loss of fertility. Women cannot any longer produce a baby, and men cannot any longer also produce sperma healthy enough to fertilize the eggs. So we certainly have creation of infertile cast. So some humans will not have babies, but they yet will work in the society. They will produce something, some values, but will not procreate. Procreation is for special caste, for royals. It is not for workers, it is not for soldiers. So humans are slowly transforming into such insect like termites. We are not, of course, we are mammals, but yet we can get special subspecies so that there will be protein eating part of the society which will produce babies, and plant-based and some humans will eat plant-based food and insect-based food and will be infertile. Okay, hormonal imbalance again creates a lot of problems in both in men and women. And male infertility, so it leads to male infertility and women infertility. So with very different symptoms, but the result is the same. I should say, my personal experience, I was married 3 times, and 2 my wives were not able to produce a baby. They were infertile, unfortunately. I believe that the use of these contraceptives, so anti-baby pills, is also contribute to infertility of women because they result in huge hormone imbalance, and the result is like this: pain during sex, and irregular menstrual cycle. Sometime this cycle will not work, so there is some months they will have no menstruation, etc., etc., and also mood swings, a lot of problems. But the result, as I said, is the same. Just some women will be infertile, and eventually they are just workers, and men are soldiers and workers. So this what we see. Transformation of human into 2 subspecies. One, some humans will be able to procreate, some are not. Okay. In difference to this standard American diet and vegetarian diet, etc., which creates all this problem of infertility and then problem with health, that it is very much so the same as for social insects. Infertile persons are not supposed to live long. Only royals, and royals are such persons who eat protein-based and fat-based diet, and fat is animal-based fat, not so-called vegetable oils. So, as opposition to this transformation, some people follow carnivore diet, and in carnivore diet, in extreme of this diet, it is people are eating eggs, meat, fish, poultry, with large amounts of organ meat and collagen, and also important to use fish and seafood for omega-3 fatty acids, and some minerals. Without minerals, unfortunately, this carnivore diet doesn't work because we are not getting enough potassium and magnesium and calcium from this meat-based diet. Another variation is, as I said, this is a zero-carb carnivore diet. It includes dairy and animal fats more than in normal carnivore diet. So, and more eggs, I think more eggs in the diet. So, in general, my hero and the person to follow is Vince Gironda. Vince Gironda was a famous coach for bodybuilders. He himself was a bodybuilder, and he was natural bodybuilder. He never used injections of the hormones, and he relied always on the diet. And in particular, one of his diet was proposed that to eat up to 35 eggs a day. Okay, eggs are the best source of this testosterone, because testosterone is produced from cholesterol, and we need a lot of cholesterol. But again, medical professionals will say that cholesterol is bad, but okay, it's up to you to what advice to follow. I follow Vince Gironda, not this medical professionals who keep that's advising. They keep medical care as business, and in the business, the more clients they have, the better for the business, and clients are sick people. Personally, I was not sick, even not getting flu, last maybe 25 years, and while my colleagues are telling me that I am special, not at all. I'm not special. I am just trying to avoid this medical professionals advising, and I try to think for myself. Unfortunately, even if we follow advising of the Vince Gironda, it is not yet a remedy for society, because problem with women. Women nowadays want to have fun, want to have many sexual partners, don't want to have baby. For example, my first wife, she didn't want to have a second child, so she aborted the second child, and without asking me, and this was, for me, it was such a shock that not so long after this I divorced her. And the same that women want to have fun and have many sexual partners, and this is quite normal nowadays. And I see only that such people like hardcore Christians, like Amish people in America, or maybe in some European countries, They follow traditions. They follow traditions, so the women and men, they married for life. They not seeking sexual diversity. They have big families. Some Amish families are 15 child. They have 15 kids, and they are healthy and they are hardworking people. They rely on naturally produced food, and they don't have any modern problems like diseases and obesity, and they are healthy and smart people. Okay, this I believe that these people probably survive. Meanwhile, the rest of humanity is moving in the direction of this separation to two subspecies. One subspecies, maybe only few of the, few percent of the humanity will follow carnivore diet and will be like Vince Gironda, will follow such carnivore diet, which is healthy, the only way to stay healthy. And if it is combined with some extreme religiosity, extreme moral norms, then this would be subspecies which will survive. The rest would be, yes, infertile, obese, short-living persons. So I don't think the people in future, if they follow standard American diet or this vegetarian diet, they will live longer than 60 years, maybe shorter. Okay, that's my vision of future, and I'm not afraid at all. So I just feel myself privileged person, because we live in so interesting times. We see so many changes. Of course, these are changes not to better, but they are natural. I don't think there is some conspiracy behind this. We just biologically develop, so the time came for the huge change in the society, and it will result in probably in depopulation, in sharp change of the in drop of vital technologies, because already now humans cannot support nuclear power production of electricity with nuclear power plants, and more we are losing ability to produce enough food for this growing population. And already this year we see that prices for food are double and even sometimes tripled. And in some countries like Sri Lanka, Ecuador, Pakistan, and very soon in North Africa, we will see famine. We will see shortage of food. War in Ukraine, it is just a part of this natural development, I believe, because Russia already came to the point that they cannot sustain own development. They were always living by selling resources, because the territory of Russia is huge and they have a lot of resources. But they intellectually, they are not able to create new technologies. They're not able to be like intelligent people. And this is just like, yeah, I'm not racist, but I would say, yeah, all history of Russians is such that we have negative selection of that all smart people, if they can, they escape from Russia, and only some people with low intellect and with lazy people and aggressive people, they stay in Russia. So this is quite normal for Russia, that they try to get slaves from Ukraine, and they always did it. 100 years ago, there was also war that Russia invaded Ukraine, and 6 million Ukrainians were exterminated, were killed by famine, artificially organized famine, and also a lot of Ukrainians moved to Siberia, during winter time without even clothes, so they just got perished in very hard climate conditions. So now again we see this repetition, but I hope that eventually Russia will collapse itself and there will be no such threat to Ukrainians and to Europe like it was 100 years ago. Okay, nevertheless, this destiny, what we see in Western countries and also in some developing countries, that we see certain separation of humans into two subspecies. And I see also at our Thai school, I see that certainly some children are wasting their time playing games. Playing games does not develop brain at all. They are not having enough physical exercises. Their food is very much like standard American diet, and the result will be disaster. So these people are not supposed to have own baby. They will be infertile. They are in the caste of workers or soldiers, but not of the royals. Royals will be only few percent of the society. And I hope these royals will be these hardcore Christians like Amish people. Okay, that's all. Thank you for your time.